Yeah, I work for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and I'm in the regional office in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I work in external affairs and do some communication work for monarchs. And so I'm going to talk about communication, and I'm going to help get you guys ready for your breakout groups. Okay, so I want to start with some communication efforts that are in place with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. In 2014, the service received the petition to protect the monarch butterfly under the Endangered Species Act. And in early 2015, the service identified the monarch as a national priority for the agency. This also folded into the federal pollinator strategy that had been released by former President Obama. So the Fish and Wildlife Service is currently working to determine whether Endangered Species Act protection for the monarch is warranted. Of course, we all know monarchs are a flagship species for pollinators and prairie habitat. So the service quickly got to work on a national monarch butterfly conservation work plan. And one of the strategies within this plan included an outreach communications campaign. And that is to implement a monarch butterfly communication campaign to connect the American people to monarch conservation, to help monarchs reach healthy, sustainable population levels. From this strategy, the service put together several communication actions to, I've got to forward my slides. Communication actions to connect with external audiences. And that was engage and build connected constituencies. We wanted to use social science metrics to assess engagement. And we wanted to support the National Pollinator Garden Network. And of course, we are also very strong supporters of the Mayor's Monarch Pledge, which you guys heard about a little bit earlier in the day. Alrighty, so the service went on to create some general messages, sort of some general themes, keeping it very simple and straightforward. Basically, monarchs are in trouble, and of course, all of us here know that. It's going to take everyone, from government agencies to private citizens, to help save the monarch. And we also wanted people to know how they could help, how anyone can help save the monarch. And of course, we all know that monarchs need native milkweed. They need nectaring plants, especially from April to October. They need better connections between habitats, and they need less exposure to pesticides. And of course, there are a lot of challenges. There are a lot of folks doing great things for monarchs and pollinators. So how do we get all these partners, all these different entities, and you've seen this slide probably a couple times during the symposium. So how do we get all these folks who have somewhat different missions, even though we're conservation organizations, we all have a little bit of different mission, working in unison to save the monarch and all telling the same story? How do we galvanize all these different entities to really make a difference for monarchs? And then, of course, you add in the layer of trilateral leadership. So not only are we dealing with conservation organizations in the United States, but we're also connecting with Canada and Mexico as well. So it can be very challenging. And this is usually me and Katie talking on the phone. Alrighty, so as an agency, we felt like we had to start somewhere. So we decided to start with three major audiences: urban centers and suburban developments, which are our urban communities; transportation, power, and rights of way; and agriculture. And when we thought about agriculture, we wanted to make sure that we hit both the individual farmers and ranchers, as well as the industries and organizations that provide them with the support that they need. So not only just talking to the individuals, but also talking to the industry itself. Whoops, sorry. So communication partners. Of course, the government and really any entity really can't and shouldn't be going it alone. So we've collaborated with many partners to help communicate about monarchs. And it's going to take our combined resources to really reach out to all of these audiences. And here's just a few of our partners that we've been working with. It just kind of shows a little bit of diversity of the folks that we connected with. Of course, Monarch Joint Venture, they're pretty much, everyone's pretty much connected with them. USDA is one of our partner federal agencies, and they've just included monarchs in their working lands for wildlife. Pheasants Forever and Quail Forever, again, monarchs, restoring monarch habitat also helps their critters. So just a wide variety of folks that are really trying to do good things for monarchs and communicate about how we can tell the public our story. Communication tools. So in order to connect with our partners and our audiences, the service created a variety of communication tools to help support our communication actions. And I really encourage you to visit our website, www.fws.gov/SaveTheMonarch. And I told my friend I would say the address out loud. On the website, we've got a variety of tools. There's webinars on there, there's fact sheets, there's photo galleries, there's plants and planting guides, best practices, a lot of how-to, how to plant a pollinator garden, how to attract critters to your yard, anything that can help the monarch is listed on there. So it's really a tool where here's how you can help anybody from the general public to all those audiences that I just mentioned. Okay. Putting it to use. So why are we here today? We are here today to network, and we're here today to work together. So when you divide out into your working groups here in just a minute, one of the agenda items will be communications. So before we break out, what I want to do is have you guys start thinking about, when you're talking about communications in your working group, and there's 4 groups, is that right? There's 4 working groups, and each one of the groups is going to have a communication component. So be thinking about consistent messages. Are we all telling the same story? Are we all on the same page? Are we all providing the public, or whatever the audience is, with the same information? What are the cultural and social barriers that may exist in talking with some of these audiences? Are there any, and what are they? And are you able to recognize them and get through them? Are we communicating what's in it for them? So that's a big one, I think, with our audiences. Why should it be important to them? Why being a part of this monarch conservation effort is good for them? What's in it for them? What gaps are there in our messaging or our tools? So basically, what are we missing? What do we need to fill in? Where are we not connecting either with each other or with our audiences? So be thinking about all these things: consistent messaging, barriers, the what's in it for them, and anything that we're missing or gaps regarding our messaging or our tools. And for me, I would really like our take-home message to be: we all contribute to conserving the monarch through our collective actions, common strategies, and collaborations. So I'd like to say that again. We all contribute to conserving the monarch through our collective actions, common strategies, and collaborations. Now it is time to get started. So let's get into our working groups and start talking about not only the things that are on your agenda, but make sure you're talking about those communication aspects as well.